For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to Bite Size Bios. This is meant to be a mini-sode that will accompany HDTH. Every week, I will pick a person from history and dive into their lives. Welcome back for another episode of Bite Size Bios, which of course is the mini episode that comes in between your weekly episodes of HDTH. Glad you guys are tuning in again. Press and play, always appreciate it. This week we're going to be talking about Alexander the Great, and I first off just struggle trying to figure out what kind of name I'm going to call him. You guys will see that. What do you call a man as great as he? I think I end up going with Al. But yeah, so we're going to learn about Alexander the Great. Without further ado, here's the episode. Alexander III of Macedon, or as we call him, Alexander the Great, was both the king of Greece and Macedon. And the Greeks didn't consider the Macedonians to be civilized. They saw them as barbarians. They descended from people who fought barbarians, so I guess they kind of got mixed up in being called barbarians, all that stuff. But Alexander the Great, who for a few times in here, I'll probably call him Al. I just feel like it just makes us sound like we're on a, we're a lot closer than what we are. So Al was born in Pella, old Al the Great, which is present-day Greece. And at the time, it was the capital of what they call Macedon. And his father was Philip II of Macedon. And he did some really messed up stuff, which we're not going to get to because this really isn't his biography. But he also had a brother, Alexander. Alexander, because are we Al? Are we going Alexander the Great? It's Alexander? It's a lot. We'll go with Al. Okay, so Al's brother, he had a brother, his name was Philip Aridius, and this guy, he was portrayed as I guess you could call him mentally handicapped. The people, they use some other words that I just feel like, all right, but he wasn't that smart, I guess is what they say. But so it was all up to Al to be like the big guy in the family to carry on the name. And there are a couple of theories as to how his birth came about, and they have some spiritual, like Greek goddess type origin, of course. And legend has it that on the eve of his consummation of her, on the eve of the consummation of her marriage to Philip II, Olympias dreamed that her womb was struck by a thunderbolt, and that caused flame to spread far and wide before dying away. And this meant that he's going to be all that, going to be a god. And sometime after the wedding, Philip is said to have seen himself in a dream securing his wife's womb with a seal engraved with a lion's image. It's all got, great backstory. Alexander was raised in the manner of the noble Macedonian youths, and he learned to read and ride and fight and hunt and do all that stuff. There's a great story about him breaking a horse. The horse they ended up naming a city after, but it's escaping me right now, the name of the city. But Philip II chose Aristotle to teach his kid Al, and they did this at the Temple of Nymphs in Mieza, and that's true. And in return for teaching Al, Philip II said he was going to rebuild Aristotle's village, right? Isn't that awesome of him? That's great, right? Except Philip II is the one who burned it down as well. Burned it down, killed a bunch of people, right? And I was like, well, if you just teach my kid, I'll get that village, up and running for you again. You want to be grateful, but it's like, geez, look it up. It's real. The name of the town is Stagira. So after his tutelage with old Aristotle, Al got off to the races when he went and conquered his first town at the age of 16, and he named that town Alexandropolis. Of course, there would be other names of towns that had to do with his name because he was so great. Some of us are learning to drive around that time, but Al was actually learning to take over. He was taking over an entire culture and just making his own. That's cool too. And they had a bunch of new technology. I saw this when I was looking this up. They were basically one of the first people to create the crossbow, and they called it the belly shooter. That's what they called it. And I just thought that was such a cool name. Had to mention it. So what did Alexander the Great look like? They say he was short, which is interesting, and that sometimes when he sat in chairs that his feet would not touch the ground. So imagine the greatest dude on earth just dangling his feet. That's funny. And they also say he smelled really good. Had a very pleasant odor that they say exhaled from his skin, and that there was a fragrance about his mouth and all his flesh. But this also really, if you think about it, a lot of historians say this may or may not be true, because it kind of goes into, that's the way they say gods would smell, or something like that. Like basically, so because he was a godlike figure, of course that would be the smell he would put off. Who really knows what he smelled like? I guess that's something you don't think about or ask about for most figures in history. But we'll move on to his conquests. And so by the age of 30, he had created one of the largest empires in history that stretched from Greece all the way to India, which was a lot of that was caught up in Persia at the time. And he went all the way through there, and he would turn all of those little settlements into Greek cities. The interesting thing about these cities, these Greek cities that he would make, is that they would be in grids, and they all look the same. When you look at all the different settlements, they would go there and just like kind of take over, and they would build like a theater, and they would build like a little common area, and they would build like a place like a gymnasium and stuff like that. And they had like all these gridded rows, but it was all the same wherever they conquered, all throughout Europe, Asia, and I believe even Africa. And one of the last things I want to tell you guys about him, which I thought was just, this is to me why I think this guy might be great. So he was, let's see, one of the conquests of the land, what was the land of Tyre, which was an island off the coast of Persia. So there was an island right off the coast of Persia, right? And so this is gangster. So basically, Tyre felt safe because they were surrounded by water, and Alexander didn't have a good navy at the time, and he didn't, right? So, and he didn't use that. And so Al, our good old friend Al, he builds a bridge. My man builds a bridge out to these guys. He's like, I want to take you guys over so bad. Like, they're out there just chilling. He's like, no. I need them too. So what are we going to do? We're gonna build a bridge, and then we're going to walk out there, and then we're going to take them over. Like, who else is doing that? And so when they get there, that's not even, I mean, that is the coolest part of it, but he just keeps on going. Like, that is the cool, like, my man builds a bridge out to fight you. Like, he must really not like you. And so, but then when they get there, they build these things, what are they called? Let me see. There was a name for them, but they're basically just really large towers of this guys built up in here, and they would just be at all different levels, just like shooting arrows at you and just like taking over, like, like really just like multi-level warfare. Like, that's why this guy really gets the great in his name. And so we'll move from there pretty much to his death. But before I get there, we'll say when he got to Egypt, he also got the god status as well. They pretty much put him on the same level as the pharaoh, so like everybody was feeling this guy. He just must have been a really charismatic fellow. And so his death is mysterious at best. And there are two versions of his death, but both of them have to do with him coming down with an illness that may have caused a fever that then just debilitated over the next couple weeks, and then he died at 33. That's pretty much it. We do want to keep it brief because these are bite-sized bios. I will say that they do not know where his grave is, so just wait for the History Channel show to come out about that. Yeah. And that's been another bite-sized bio. We learned a lot about Alexander the Great, or as I like to say, my friend Al. Learned a lot about Al. Really hoping to cover a lot of different people over these mini-sodes. I got a lot of people. I don't want you guys to think that it's just guys. I got some women in the pipeline too. I mean, I think the next one coming up is actually a woman. I don't want to give it away, but yeah, I'm trying to do just different, not your normal. I mean, like I said, the first ones I wanted to kind of be a little kind of snowballs, a little easy, big fastballs I could just kind of hit off, and but we're gonna get into some different people as we go on. So thanks for pressing play every time, and I'll definitely see you guys next week.
The holidays start here at Baker's with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. Whether you're making a traditional roasted turkey or spicy turkey tacos, your go-to shrimp cocktail, or your first Cajun risotto, Baker's has all the freshest ingredients to embrace your traditions. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
We've locked in low prices to help you save big store-wide. Look for the locked in low prices tags and enjoy extra savings throughout the store. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.